Hello. Hi. Hi, Lucy.
That's Lucy. Hello, my Fashionable squad. So it's been a hot second since I've done a YouTube video. And by hot second, I mean it's been like a year since I uploaded one of these things on here. So a lot has changed. And I basically just wanted to take a second today to talk to you about how I went from this.
In fast fashion stores everywhere like Zara, H&M, you can buy some things in bright colored velvet on ASOS as well. ASOS, and ASOS, Mango, H&M.
To this.
There's just so many questions I have that I feel like more people should have about the stuff they buy. Like, you know, if you buy a $5 t-shirt, you know, why is it $5? Why is it so cheap?
To basically giving up fast fashion altogether and adapting this kind of a slow fashion or sustainable fashion lifestyle. Let's rewind it back to why I started vlogging in the first place. So in 2017, I started this personal fashion blog where I thought it was an amazing outlet for my own personal inspiration in fashion and creativity. I worked in the industry for about 10-15 years before that. And I just kind of saw this as a perfect opportunity to use a personal platform to write about things that I was inspired by. I mean, fashion industry is just so beautiful and inspirational, and having a little piece of it as a blogger kind of felt great. And also Matt, my boyfriend, is into photography, so it was kind of a merging of all worlds where we can both kind of be passionate about something and have fun. So I would watch a lot of different YouTube videos like the hauls and trend and fashion week recaps from all of my favorite fashion bloggers. And so consequently, I started getting recommendations for videos on sustainable fashion. To be honest, I actually had no idea what sustainable fashion was before I started watching these videos. I couldn't tell the difference between ethical and non-ethical brands. So I started watching more and more of these, and this is how I learned about the dark side of the fashion industry, otherwise known as fast fashion or unethical fashion. So I went down this kind of a rabbit hole of watching videos and documentaries and like investigative journalist pieces about where fashion is produced, how it's produced, and the impact it has on the environment, animals, people, workers. And I just couldn't unsee what I saw, and I just couldn't go back to basically writing about a cute new top that I bought at Zara that I was probably gonna wear like once for a photo and maybe once more for some event, but probably not. And yeah, I just couldn't go back to writing about trends the way I used to, and I felt very passionate about all this stuff I learned. It was extremely eye-opening. So let's break down what I learned about the dark side of the fashion industry. So there's a massive demand for clothing in the industry right now. We want to buy more things because we're constantly inspired to do so by marketing strategies that a lot of the brands put in place today. So we see things on Instagram, we see things on social media, in our TV shows, favorite TV shows and movies, celebrities, influencers, and we are constantly inspired to buy more things to look like them and kind of imitate that lifestyle that a lot of advertising today is trying to portray. And we end up buying a lot of cheap clothes in stores that sell them for like $5 for a t-shirt or like $10 for a sweater. Those clothes are usually very cheap and very cheaply made, so they don't last very long. So what ends up happening is we either throw them away or donate them at the end of the shopping journey. We end up wearing them once, if maybe at all. We end up buying a lot of things that we actually don't really like or don't really want to buy if we take away like the influence marketing had on our shopping decisions. And we just continue to fuel this demand because we want to buy more and more clothes and constantly keep up with fashion weeks and trends and influencers. I mean, Instagram right now, influencers post like 3 pictures a day of different outfits, and that kind of standard is what I feel like a lot of people right now, a lot of people who are into fashion right now, are trying to live up to or kind of like trying to aspire to get to. That's just my interpretation of where this crazy demand for clothing and shopping comes from. Meanwhile, the brands continue to profit off of this crazy high demand in shopping for new clothes and end up outsourcing production of clothes to countries like India and Bangladesh and Thailand, China, where these are all countries that have very high risks of workers' rights violations. So what ends up happening is the clothing gets produced in factories with major safety violations where the workers get abused, they get paid almost nothing to produce this clothing. They have to put in an unimaginable amount of hours of work to be able to meet this kind of demand with supply. But because demand continues to grow, or at least stays so high, it remains to be this cheap for a brand to produce clothing in all of these high-risk countries without monitoring the supply chain or the production process. I didn't know much about this when it happened, but I learned a lot more once I started researching. In 2013, there was a factory in Bangladesh called Rana Plaza that collapsed after not meeting a lot of the safety rules, and that tragedy ended up claiming over 1,000 lives. Since then, a lot of brands started monitoring their supply chain and just their production process in these countries, but the industry is still not there, and the majority of brands still get away with producing clothing in factories just like Rana Plaza. Fashion production at this capacity is also horrible for the environment because the amount of clothing produced is just so high, and a lot of the fabrics used are not really recyclable and they're not biodegradable. So what ends up happening is the clothes that we buy and then throw away, it remains here on Earth for a very long time, if not forever. And the more I research about the effects of fashion on the environment, it's catastrophic. There are articles saying that I think it's the second most polluting industry in the world. I don't know if that's accurate, but if it's not the second, it's very high up there. The third factor of this dark side of fashion production is, I think, what most people are most familiar with is animal cruelty. I feel like a lot of the fashion brands right now are taking a lot more action and steps in this department more than anything else. A lot of brands right now gave up using real fur, real leather. Definitely a lot of brands are giving up using exotic animal skins for fashion products, and that's awesome, but a lot of the brands are still not there 100%. The industry is nowhere near 100% animal cruelty free. So all of this sounds pretty depressing. And at this point you're probably wondering, well, okay, then what can I do? Number one, get informed. I understand it's not lost on me that fashion problems in general are kind of like a first world problem. But if you do have an option and a chance to influence this industry even a little bit with the shopping decisions you make or with what kind of clothing or fashion you invest your money in, then you can actually make a difference in this industry. If you're going to take away one action item from this video, then I think this one should definitely be it. We live right now in a world where the majority of us have smartphones, and that is an infinite supply of information in the palm of our hands. And what I encourage everybody to do is research this. Research sustainable fashion, research the effects of fast fashion having on the environment, on people. Ask yourself questions about, if you buy something, then where was it made, who made it, like what happened on that other line of the purchase, like what happened during the production process, what is it made out of? Go onto your favorite brand's website and research their stance on ethical production, research where their factories are. Get informed, and I feel like information is just key to basically making better decisions if you have ability to do so. So yeah, do a lot of research, watch a lot of videos, and get answers to your questions. If the brand doesn't have that information on their website, then to me that's a huge red flag. Like, why would you not disclose that information? If you are a brand that produces ethical clothing sustainably, then why wouldn't that information be like 100% available for everybody to see? So if you don't find that information about your brand, then email that brand. Usually PR teams are going to respond to you with information, and you can kind of go from there and make choices based on what you get. Look for resources on this topic. Some of the ones I want to recommend is my favorite YouTubers, Kristen Leo. She has an amazing channel on sustainable fashion and basically just living sustainably in general, thrifting, what that's like, how to do it, how much you would have to invest. It's super informative. Then there's a YouTuber, Justine LeConte. I think that's how you pronounce her last name, but she also has a lot of videos around sustainable fashion and what the brands are actually doing while they're saying something else. Like, she has a lot of informative videos that I think would be really interesting if you're looking into this topic. There's a documentary on Netflix called True Cost. That one was the most eye-opening one for me. They actually traveled to factories. They show you the production of clothing, what it looks like, what those workers go through. They also show a lot of different other aspects of fashion, like how cotton is produced, what those farmers go through, and basically the effect of like this YouTube haul culture and like the marketing has on us and why we buy. And it's a really great documentary that I think is very, very eye-opening. At least it was for me. It kind of changed a lot of my perspective on the fashion industry and how I shop and what I buy. Two blogs that I would recommend checking out is greenstrategy.se and The Good Trade. So both of them have a lot of different blog posts around sustainable fashion and just sustainable living in general, like how we can reduce our consumption of plastic products and all kinds of other useful information. An app I would like to recommend is called Good On You. So that is like my source of truth on which brands I want to buy from. You can look up any brand name there and they're going to give that brand a score based on their impact on the environment, animal rights, and human rights. So you can see which brands are doing well on those ratings and which ones you probably should avoid if you are going to go down this sustainable fashion route. Number two, if you pass information, if you feel like you want to take some action and kind of influence the industry, you can. You can start by decreasing this crazy demand for clothing. When you go shopping, I would recommend thinking about what you're buying. Even if you're buying from a fast fashion brand, I would ask yourself if that piece of clothing is going to last you. If you're going to rewear it, I would go to the store, check it out, maybe go home, sleep on it, think about it, go back, buy it. Think about what that item is going to look like in your closet, if you can actually pair it with things you already own. I would avoid buying impulse purchases, like a crazy top that you saw 8 Instagrammers all of a sudden wear and a fast fashion label produces a similar version for like $2. I would stay away from that because that is going to fuel this demand, and if you want to contribute to not fueling it, then every purchase has to be meaningful. It has to be something that's going to be reworn and paired with different things you already have and basically, you know, last much longer and mean a lot more to you. Outside of thinking about every item that you purchase, I recommend looking into thrifting. I know that sounds kind of scary and new to most people. I feel like thrifting isn't as popular as I think it should be, but I just started thrifting as I adapted this kind of a lifestyle, and I've been having so much fun. It is so cool going out to a store, actually hunting for an item, and then once I buy it, I know that it's one of a kind. Only I have this one item, and it just feels more special. It feels cooler. Thrifting doesn't have to be expensive. In the spirit of this video, I am wearing this oversized Armani vintage blazer. I think it's from the 80s, and I thrifted this one for I think like $30, which is probably cheaper than a lot of the new clothing that you would buy somewhere. If you want to shop and still buy new things, then I recommend doing more research around which brands that you invest in. For example, look for local brands that are produced in your country. So like US local brands, like I'm in New York, I'm looking into more and more local brands that I can put my money towards, and it's actually going to mean something to them. It's not going to disappear in this pool of billions of dollars invested into this major fashion brand. I also recommend looking into international brands that produce ethically. I'm Ukrainian, and I very often buy from Ukrainian brands that I know actually would like my support and would like my blog post about it. And I actually find those clothes really cool and interesting and unique and different from what the world constantly consumes. And it makes me feel very cool and that I'm supporting a label and a brand by somebody that's, from my country. I feel kind of awesome. So, and unique, and I feel like I have something that's very different, so it's kind of cool. That concludes this video. I know that taking action in sustainable fashion takes a lot and it's really hard. Giving up habits that we're used to is very difficult, trust me, I know. But I also feel like it's important to understand that just because we're used to doing something a certain way doesn't mean it's right. Just because we're used to going to a store that's conveniently across the street and has a turnover of new things every single day doesn't mean that that is the right way to go. So get informed, do research, look for other brands, watch documentaries, learn more. That is all. That is my fashion journey. One more thing. I write this at the end of every single one of my blog posts. I am still on this journey. I'm calling this my sustainable fashion journey. I am not fully there yet. I still have a lot of learning to do. I am constantly researching, and sometimes maybe I can be wrong about certain things. And I fully accept that. If you are a brand or if you are a blogger who's into sustainable fashion and you feel like you want to correct me, or if you just want to get in touch and kind of tell me more or talk about this, then please do. I'm open to any kind of suggestions or just starting conversations around this, because I feel like the more and more bloggers get into this, the faster we can spread the word. And that is all for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. I've talked a lot. I'm gonna go have some water and hang out with my insane teenager cat. Bye.